I'm Billy Bobsack, and I am joined by the Lord Otter,
Hey, yo.
Frederick Goumont,
How do you do, everybody?
and Frequency Studios.
A whole lot of hola.
And we are reviewing The Band of the Crow, written and created by Arvid Nelson, drawn and colored by Oren. Frederick, why don't you start us out with this non-spoiler part?
Okay, so this book really pisses me off at how good it is. It makes us artists and writers, I think, work extra hard now because it raises the bar. Just absolutely beautiful, stunning artwork. It kind of has the best of what you see in the manga style. Like, it's very slightly manga-ish faces and eyes, but just the slightest design elements. It still looks very much like an English comic book, but at the same time, it's got the European format. It's big like a magazine. It's even got a slipcover, which I've never seen on a softcover book before, and it's got very storybook feel to it. Like, you have illustrations and fonts in the beginning that makes it feel like a children's storybook, which is, I don't know, this book kind of warms your heart at how awesome it is.
It specifically uses that in the beginning and like the chapter breaks.
Yeah. So that's my overall view of it. It's a very charming, heartwarming book.
What's your grading of it? What would let give it?
I'd have to give it an A+. Like, I can still have, I think I have two minor nitpicks, which I had to work hard to find.
I have two as well.
Oh, yeah, well, let's see if they're the same ones.
I have one that I would call nitpicks, but I have one that's just kind of subjective.
Okay. But it's a great book. I know I'm going to go back and reread this one because it's a good story. You just get totally immersed in the story. It's fantasy, right? And Arvid, we interviewed him on Proof of Comics, and he was telling us about how he's sourcing back to the old source books of fairy tales. So it's nice to see people who are going to find the original inspirations for Tolkien and not just riffing off Tolkien like a lot of authors tend to do.
Yeah, the writing in it is also fairly well done, especially the dialogue and stuff. So you have like a scene later on, no spoilers, but there's like a bully character I think was very well written in this book.
Yep. Everything about it is kind of like a next level. You can tell that I think the project lead behind the book is the author, Arvid, and you can tell that this is his baby, right? Because he's taken it to the extra step that most creators don't tend to do with their self-published books.
He wrote it and created it. He also did the lettering as well.
Oh, interesting.
At least that's what it shows the credit at the very beginning.
Oh, right.
Otter, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, so whenever I started reading through this, I actually read through it a few days ago. Overall impressions are very positive. I'm not going to rate it quite as highly as Frederick has, mainly because this is the start of the story, and first impressions are very good. I did kind of leave with a few nitpicks, however. Some of them a little larger than others, but I wouldn't really say any of the major trappings you see from a lot of indie comics or indie stories in general. This one had it felt very polished. And even some of the gripes that would normally dock at a point or two in my perspective wasn't really present here, or at the very least it was toned down. So it was very solid. The environment art in particular I thought was gorgeous, just incredible.
I think a lot of the each panel, I mean, I gave this compliment when I first read it. Berserk level art it is.
I think in terms of the environment artwork, I'll agree with that. The environments look absolutely stunning. For me, that was my absolute favorite part of the book. there were some hair effects later with one of the characters that the main protagonist meets. I believe his name is Theriol. He, like, I love the energy and the posing and everything for that. The overall composition was really solid. But yeah, as for my overall rating, I would probably give this probably a B plus. Not without its faults, but a very solid start.
All right. Frequency?
If there's one thing I could say about this one, it's immersive, big time.
Mm-hmm.
It's really cool how it starts off and fills you in quickly on the lore of the world and where this is going. This is definitely a high fantasy. It definitely gives that whole other fantasy world vibe, and when you get into it, you don't think you're reading a comic. It's just like, other than you have this amazing art, but it's just like it just draws you in, and you're kind of almost like you lose time reading this one.
You can also tell that the dude is a good writer. I don't think he falls that much into the traps of kind of clunky dialogue. This one sure doesn't have it, at least in my opinion.
No, all the dialogue seems pretty solid, and as far as the way they speak, it makes sense in the world. It fits the setting. Because how many things do we see lately where it's like the dialogue just does not fit the setting at all? And this, it does, but it also reads very smooth, and it's can't really say anything bad about this book at all. And why would I want to? Because it's such an enjoyable read, and it's already got me wondering. It's left me with questions, which is, what a first book should do is if it doesn't leave you wondering what's going to happen next, then it did something wrong.
All right. What would be your rating for this letter-wise?
I'd give it an A.
It's pretty solid.
Yeah, and I don't even really have any nitpicks. I mean, I wouldn't know how to nitpick it because I don't know what's coming next yet, and so the only thing that would possibly retroactively bring it down is if plot threads just get left dangling, and everything looked very deliberate here, so I don't think that's going to happen.
Right. Mine's been pretty close to what Frequency and Otter and Frequency said. The art is really, really good, and the environment, the castles and stuff, when you see that, look incredibly good. I'm saying Berserk level because it is. Also, I do love the kind of uniqueness in each character's faces that the artist managed to do through this book. Pretty well done. Like, I know it's the manga style, but the characters are pretty distinct in their appearance with that.
Yeah, some of them you could almost completely take their hair away, and you're still going to see who's who.
Right. I'm going to give this an A-. I have literally 2 issues with this book, and then a third one, but that's not really a bad thing. It's just something I'd rather have instead, or to my preference. But other than that, I think our scores are pretty high. Our highest is an A+, our lowest is a B+, right, Otter?
Yep.
That's pretty good, people. It's pretty good. Now, we're fixing to move into spoilers. Now, when I did my Rook's Exodus, I usually do the good first before we get into the bad. But since I have a sneaking suspicion that this is probably going to be one of our shortest, the bad sections, I think that's what we're going to lead into.
All right.
Dim, dam, dadilam, vacarme, s'en va dans l'oubli.
Alrighty, I'm going to start this out. Now, I have 2 criticisms. One I can consider completely objective, and then one of them I consider more of a subjective, but I still think it holds weight. The first one is the statue at the very beginning has 6 fingers. It's a drawing mistake. It's not the end of the world. And the rest of the book, it's all fine. None of the hands or legs or anything are like that. It's just that one part in the book. The second one is I feel like the book didn't end on a good enough hook for the next issue. Because we kind of just end with him trying to stroll past and him seeing his bride-to-be the next spring or whatever, the woman he's supposed to marry. And that's kind of where we leave it off on. And then the third one, the one I don't really consider a negative to this book, it's not bad, it's just personal preference. I wish during the chapter breaks where we get a page and it's like a little one sentence thing, I kind of wish that was a lore dump. Like we got a big lore dump on the goddess and stuff, the one that they're worshiping, humanity's worshiping, the last of humanity, that we got at the very beginning of the book with the first couple of pages. I kind of wish we got that lore dumps in those pages rather than it just being a sentence. And Otter, was there any that you wanted to talk about?
So this will actually concern the artwork. This is probably my biggest complaint. I think the environment art for the book looks pretty stellar. The character artwork, I think, was probably a step down from the environment art. Not bad by any stretch, but I did notice some rough edges in the character expressions, the faces, and some of their poses sometimes. So normally I wouldn't even be criticizing this too much. The thing is, it's the environments that look so good, and then sometimes the faces and also the coloring a little bit that'll just kind of pull me out of it just a little bit. That's probably my biggest gripe with the story overall. I think the overall beginning of the story has been really solid and kind of setting everything up. I kind of wish there was a little more of a gripping hook for this first volume, because by the end of the story I ended up leaving it going, yeah, that was pretty solid. I think it could have done one or two things a little more just to give us that extra oomph that makes us need to know what happens next.
I honestly believe that he should have added a couple more pages for a better hook. I don't think the hook at the end of just being, his wife-to-be sees him, right?
Yeah, and it's not just that. It's also at the very beginning with the trolls attacking him in the chapel. Compared to everything else, I know it's kind of feeding into world building, but as of right now, it almost feels a little random. I'm wondering if that might end up being given a bit more context as the story goes on, but as a hook that makes me want to read more, I'm like, it's cool seeing action going on, but I don't really know why I should care exactly. That's kind of my one gripe with that. I wish the hook was, I think it's good. I just wish it was a little stronger. Mm-hmm. And I think that's most of my gripes with it, really. There's nothing I can really point out with this graphic novel and say, oh, this is absolutely bad, or it's aggressively mediocre or anything like that. For the most part, it's pretty polished, pretty well set up and everything. It's just a couple of gripes that bring it down just a little bit in my eyes.
Oh, you know what? I do got an extra one. And it's just because I'm a pervert. Come on, she was nude. What'd you putting those little cloudy things over it? Come on.
Oh, there was one bit of dialogue.
Me,
there was one bit of dialogue I was nitpicking a little bit. It's where the plot points out that I'm forgetting the character's name off the top of my head, where it points out that she's pregnant. And he's like, what is it? And she's like, it's the child in my belly. I'm like, I think she could have just said, it's the child, and you would have immediately known what she was talking about.
I have to look at that one again. I think it's, for me, it was more confusing on that one was, I think she said it's the child I'm bearing, right? I don't know, look it up.
Yeah, it's the child I'm bearing in my belly. It read just a little awkwardly to me. I think it could have been tightened up to it's the child, and it would, you would have known everything.
Yeah, she says, it's the child carry within me.
Yeah. Just have it changed to, it's the child, and I think it would be a perfect line.
Frederick?
Yeah, so I have a few points to nitpick, and as I was trying to find which page they were on, I realized another nitpick. this page is not. This book doesn't have numbered pages, so that's very minor nitpick. And most of these, I'm almost ashamed of pointing them out because none of them kind of break the immersion or ruin the book in any way. One of the things that I noticed the most was the coloring. So the coloring, it's good, but it's also very matter of fact. When you look at the page where Therial comes out of the labyrinth, he doesn't stand out much in the page, in the big panel where he's coming out. If he didn't have red hair, you'd have a difficult time noticing him on the page. So maybe use the coloring to a better effect to grab people's attention. Maybe play with the coloring a little bit to show emotion a little bit more. It's very well rendered, but it's also very matter of fact in a lot of ways. Another nitpick is with one bubble of lettering when Therial is in front of the fireplace, and you have the old woman who you don't see her yet. She's coming down the hallway behind him, but the word bubble where she's screaming, "Master Therial!"
Oh yeah, I know.
It's coming back and it's pointing to Therial's shoulder, but in reality, it's coming from the hallway behind him. That's just a minor ambiguity that kind of, like, I had to pause for a moment to say, okay, no, that's not him saying this. It's seeing the next panel after that. Okay, it's the woman that's coming from. So that's just a minor thing that can be fixed in the lettering. And is there another one? I think that's all that I could think of. Those are minor nitpicks, man. It's hard to find real issues with the book.
Frequency?
Yeah, honestly, I didn't even catch any of these myself. I wouldn't have known about the finger had you guys not told me. I didn't even see that at all. But Otter, since you brought it up, you have a good point on that dialogue being clunky in that one spot.
Well, that's more because I've been proofreading a lot lately.
Yeah.
I've been keeping an eye out for a lot of things like that.
But, I mean, I did kind of think it my first time through, but it didn't kind of register. But she says, "It is the child I carry within me." Our child. It's like, he would know that. I don't think she needs to.
Yeah, that was kind of the thing that I found weird, was just she had to repeat it was our child.
It's more that it just feels like straight up exposition and not something they would naturally say. I think that's my problem with it.
However, to your point about the trolls feeling random, are we in full spoiler territory or not yet?
Yeah, we're full spoiler. You can talk about anything that you want to.
All right. As for the trolls being random, I don't think they were. Because something about the way what's her name's husband is glancing back in that panel as he's talking to her but not looking at her makes me think he's in on it.
I mean, maybe it's one of those things that feels more like a macro plot detail, but like initial kind of like trying to get the audience's interest. I think that's where it struggles a little more. Like macro plot, I think it's fine. Like I do think there is something deeper going on there.
Yeah, especially because, you know, it's like right away we got trolls. And one of the first things he says is, "Look, we don't want blood, only the treasure, and we'll be gone." It's like, hold on, you would think trolls would just slaughter. But, so I think there's something going on, especially with, like, I think there was a bit of foreshadowing, that glance back that he gave as he's walking his wife away from it.
Oh, yeah, I think so, too.
I mean, they made quite clear he's kind of a sleazeball, but I think they were subtly hinting at he's more than just a sleazeball.
So, is that all the complaints we have for the bad? Because we're going to move into the good.
Yeah, I think so.
Well, we're going to move into the good. Now we're on to the good part of the book, the things that we liked. Otter, why don't you start us out this time?
Well, I know I mentioned it before, but the fucking artwork is incredible. Few gripes aside, like, I still think the overall quality and of what's here is really, I'd say at least a mark, if not 2 or 3 marks above the competition.
The castle scene is fucking incredible. That first one, we get the shot of like the outside of the castle on the hill thing.
That one wasn't mine. It was I think they were in a courtyard, and it was right when they were about to enter the knot, where it's like you have sort of like this like hanging sort of like ivy and everything. I'm like, man, this looks incredible.
Well, if we're talking about favorites, Otter,
And you
I would
guys
actually
are,
be the room with the skull.
you guys
Okay,
are
no,
gay
that was
'cause it's
awesome.
the
That was like
ladies that were the
best
most
panel
beautiful
being
part.
saved for last.
Yeah. Also, a little surprising, there's only splash pages, not a double page spread at all in these books.
Yeah, he
mean,
might have
I'm-
like avoided taking a risk since he's self-publishing for the first time and it's magazine style. It might have been playing it safe because
That's
there is a couple
Maybe.
of pages that are like full splash, but you still get a little bit of white on each side, even though it looks like a full page splash.
That is true.
You think that's in trying to keep with that old storybook feel? The weight around the page, even on the splashes.
No, I think it's just the format. Personally, I don't think it was a choice to look a storybook because these are magazine sized, so it's not a standard for comic book. It actually feels like a European bande dessinée. The way you could tell it's not European is that the nipples are covered.
Fair. I will also say that the world building for Band of the Crow is very unique. It feels fairly Norse, but I like the setup for humanity in this one. You get the sense that this is kind of like post-apocalypse where humanity is just recovered from being on the verge of extinction. So it's like
'cause the very beginning, we get that basically like introduction to the world.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the prologue there of the endless winter.
that's another thing I really like about. So it's one thing I will defend about having a little bit of a slower start. You get that setup, but you have the scope of the story and the characters being very small. It leaves you wanting to know more about the wider world, what's actually happened.
That's right. Also, he does a very good job of making you hate the husband character very quickly.
Oh,
It's like, oh no, honey, if only I was there quicker. Oh no, could have
But
defended you.
you don't
There's
hate
only one character that I think he wanted us to hate that I didn't, and that was, well, she was looking fine, so how could I hate that?
Oh, you're talking about the
The
dark.
Darkling.
Yeah,
Yeah, I did like the custom font he was using, the storyboard font that he has at the very beginning and on the chapter pages and stuff like that.
Mhm.
yeah. The lettering in general I thought was pretty high quality.
I do wish that he had a little bit more uniqueness in the when the orcs are speaking their language.
Yeah, it's
Or
just
the trolls, sorry, not
brackets.
orcs, trolls.
That is one minor gripe I should have mentioned before, is that the trolls, I didn't realize they were trolls at first. I just thought they were orcs.
Yes. They were green people of color, Otter.
It
Did
would have
you know?
looked better if, yeah, you're right. You could have like went and given it a special kind of lettering, either contour or color or font, perhaps, because he does give attention to the Darkling. Like the Darkling is white on black lettering, so she has her own unique lettering style, which works very well.
The Darkling also felt like it could have come straight out of like a fairy tale or like an ancient myth or something like that. That's another thing that I just thought was really like captivating about that whole bit. I was having a lot of fun reading that.
She's
Yeah.
the best part of the book. Like she's introduced with just her feet. You see her feet coming in with her, when she's talking, and she's not distinctive by any clothing that she has because she's completely in the nude. But like the fact that she has all white skin and pure black eyes is very distinctive. Like,
Listen, we
Frederick's
know
just like her
Nelson.
defining characteristic is her feet.
Listen, we know if Nelson was in Dusk Till Dawn instead of Tarantino, he would have written himself with the Salma Hayek scene with the alcohol in the foot. We know it. We know it now, Nelson. That was Otter did point it out. That was the first thing we see of this character. Given special attention.
So the stag as well looks beautiful. Like, animals are usually the weakness of all artists. Like, as soon as you introduce animals, that's usually where you see the perfect artwork start to break apart. But the stag is well rendered, looks very natural. It's beautiful. It runs in a very natural way. It's very well, very well done. And
I do got actually a question for you, Frederick. Your thoughts on the horses?
Where do we see the horses? We don't see
It's
a horse.
right after the knot.
Right near the end.
Oh, towards the end.
Yeah, when he's getting ready to come home.
When he's riding with his guard dude.
Okay, let me have a look. They look good. They look good. They look a little like their eyes look like they're angry. So that's the.
Well, that was the artist being like, "Oh fuck, I gotta draw horses."
Could be, but like the amount of times I see horses absolutely horribly rendered, like or just the anatomy is just off incredibly. This is not the case here.
Actually, I gotta give a big compliment in that scene as well. When he does the flashback scene, the vines and stuff is actually the panel border.
Oh yeah, the page before, with where you see the stag in the flashback as well. Mm-hmm. Yep, it's nice ornamental bordering with the vines, correct? It's just a beautiful storybook. The best thing I could say about this book is it would make the best gift for somebody. Like, I would have no issues giving this to a young person or a friend. It's so flawless, and I think it's rare that we could say these about indie books, but I think this is the indie book that has the most mainstream appeal I've seen so far. Like, it's just a well-done fantasy book with artwork that is impeccable. The strong suit is really the women. I wonder if he chose the artist because of his women, because I think that's what he draws the best in all of the book.
Well, like I said earlier, some artists fall into the trap of samey face throughout characters. This one doesn't, in my opinion. Especially on the women. A lot of times I've seen artists draw women kind of way too similar to each other.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of just swap out the hair and you got a different character. But not in this one.
Am I the only one who was kind of worried at the end that Arvid would make like his wife to be like really ugly?
Okay. I do want to say this. I do feel like there's a little bit of a Song of Ice and Fire in this, because that does look like, minus the blue eyes, that does look like what a young Cersei would be like.
Well,
especially once you start getting into the idea of it being sort of like more arranged marriages and stuff, I'm like, yeah, you kind of get a little bit of a Song of Ice and Fire vibe from it, just a little bit.
I'm also just saying, like, on her physical design, like the wavy blonde hair.
Well, see, that's where I have to like differ with you on that, Billy Bob. I don't think necessarily it's a flaw, but I think the Darkling and the young blood at the end look very much alike. I was wondering if there was a link between the two characters.
Darkling and who?
And the wife to be.
Yeah, because I couldn't remember her name.
I do think that they are drawn very similarly, and it's not a fault. I mean, it's just an absolutely beautiful.
Yeah, but do you think he's drawn on purpose to look similar, or are you trying to say they're drawn on purpose just differently?
I don't know, to be honest. I don't know.
Because who knows? Maybe he's marrying a Darkling in disguise. You never know.
Well, that's a question that's in my head. So I'm wondering, this could be like the Darkling coming in or not. It could be a coincidence as well, because even as an artist, even if you can draw different faces, there's still like a limited palette you can choose from. Like if you look at the other characters on the page, the older characters look really good, like as far as being distinct. The elderly woman with the gray hair looks like an elderly woman. She's very distinctive, and she's not ugly by any means, but you could tell her age from the wrinkles. Same with the young woman's mother and Theriel's parents as well. Like you could feel their age, and at the same time you could see the beauty that they once had as well.
Would
Yeah,
that
but
be
also
called
like
texturing?
has a pretty unique appearance, even from the other two.
Yes, they do. Yes, they do.
Frederick, would that be called texturing when you can see like all the details of their face the way we do in this? Or
No, I mean, you're adding wrinkles, so wrinkles can be a form of texture. It's not so much texture as, because wrinkles are a dangerous thing to add to especially a female character, because you show the age really quickly.
right?
But it's done very subtly here, because seeing as it's the same like artist who does his colors, a lot of the wrinkles are done in the subtler hues of the colors, or just by making them shadows, but just slight shadows, so that way they're less pronounced. So I think that's why they come off soft. It almost looks like anime cell shading a little bit, but it's way more detailed, so it does give you the full comic book rendering.
Because that's what's got me surprised, how detailed they look. But in typical comics, when you see more and more lines, it starts to take away rather than define.
Yeah, and I
And
think
that didn't happen here. This is very well detailed without taking anything away.
Well,
and
that
goes to-
tells me that there's a certain amount of attention paid to like negative space and everything.
Yeah, the style is still simple, and that's something that you don't see throughout the whole book. Meaning the flaw of putting too much lines is not there. Like he seems to have just a perfect balance of lines.
Frederick says that, but you got that entire maze page.
It's a good example of like busy artwork done well, where your eye is naturally guided towards certain places.
Yeah, no, you're right, Billy. I was specifically talking about the characters.
No, I was joking with you. That was a joke.
But it's a good but you're not wrong. The backgrounds are have a lot of lines and are well detailed, and that does contrast with the characters, but that makes the characters stick out. That's something that works very well. It's not a flaw.
Also, I really liked the bully scene. Thought that was written pretty well. Sometimes they come off cringy in other stories, to be honest.
Yeah, the onomatopoeia is there's not a whole lot of it in there. There's a little bit with the goblin
horses.
theme and the horses, the clop clop when he's with the darkling as well. There's like thump thumps and O's and stuff like that. It's all white though. It's like a uniform kind of white font, and I think it's very much the same font that comes up throughout the whole book. But it works pretty well. One thing that did bother me a little bit, I know we're in the good, but I'm coming back. Like there's one thing I forgot to mention in the bad. Not the dialogue, but the square bubbles in the text, the square text, which is just like the narrative text boxes. They're the same white color as the word dialogue balloons. I think they could have been like a different color. That's another nitpick. And I think
there probably should have been. He can also, if he wants to do it later on, have different characters doing that. He could color code it to each character.
Yeah, and that's just like on 2 pages during the flashback. So we're nitpicking here.
Well, it's on a couple pages actually. The scene where he's the goblet, that big introduction scene where they're all getting the goblet to do the ritual words and stuff before heading into the maze. Got 2 there.
Where he got a little clumsy.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, maybe a little bit more coloring in the lettering and onomatopoeia, but it doesn't detract. It's not to a point where it detracts from the book.
And I know you like the storyboard, story pages and stuff at the very beginning, and the
Yeah,
chapter
there's
ones.
there's also the illustrations that look like what's vitrail in English? The
glass,
the window pane, the window glass, like church glass.
glass drawings and stuff that are in real
Yeah.
life.
So there's these at the beginning at the chapter markings. Those are really a nice added touch. It seems to be done by a different artist, or if it's the same artist, it's absolutely stunning how he does a completely different style.
Yeah.
But it's nice to see that it adds to the storybook feel of this story of this book.
Yeah, like I said, the only thing I would have liked was like he could have. So since these are supposed to be referring to the years of the goddess and basically her story, it could have been like actual passages, like a paragraph or something of a passage from like their holy book or something, instead of just being one line.
The only way this book could have been improved, I think, the actual printing of the book was to bring it to a hardcover, because this is just like almost a European bande dessinée. It's magazine size format as well, because this is not the usual vertical comic book page format. This is wider. I mean, I see one of the pages seem to be like slimmer, one or two, but or maybe a handful. But like most of the pages are full wide magazine size, and that's way more European feeling than the traditional comic book. And you guys were mentioning earlier, it's got this Game of Thrones kind of feel to it, especially for me, it's the backgrounds, like the majestic environments, I think just throw you straight into the world. Like it makes you feel that you're in a very real world, which is important, I think, when you have a fantasy world, is to be able to believe in the fantasy. And this just takes the cake.
It's been 8 centuries of a long winter that almost wiped out humanity. And they basically, persecuted the goddess when she was trying to warn them and shit.
Yep. And when you see, with the very first page, when you see the sort of castle on the hill, it's refreshing to see another moon than the full moon in comics. Usually the amount of times in a comic book where it's always the full moon. So I wonder if he's got exactly as a writer, if he's planning on the moon phases where he is in the story.
This book is called Band of the Crow. Does remind me of Band of the Hawk from Berserk.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe he was just trying to give Berserk readers PTSD because they're like, oh my god, is that going to be an eclipse? No.
Is there going to be a Griffith? I hope not.
Oh no, run!
And the choice of red hair for the main character works well for the reading of the book, because he does stand out very much on the green backgrounds or the beige kind of stony backgrounds a lot of times. So the red hair is a great aesthetic choice.
Listen, Frederick, I do got to point out something. It is a bit contradictory when he's praying at the very beginning. He's a redhead. He doesn't have a soul. What is she gonna save?
Well, stop the red hair hating.
Also, I mean, it's very medieval, but it's a lot of Roman type of architecture and style and the clothing and stuff as well, and Greek as well.
Yeah,
on the buildings, their clothing. When that one troll picks up like the gold thing when he's lying about the the church having gold, like that looks straight up like the Roman kind of crown crest thing that the nobles wore. I don't know what they're called. What are they called, Otter? You know that.
The what? Sorry,
It's like
repeat
the
that one
flower
more time.
crown design thing.
Flower
Headband.
crown design?
Tiara?
Yes.
Not a tiara.
We're calling it a TR. It's a TR. It's official.
Oh, I know what you mean. The wraith. Is that a wraith?
Wreath.
Wreath.
Oh, the laurels.
The laurels. Thank you.
Laurel, that's right.
Say, Otter, this is what happens in this world, and unlike Oblivion, where you can just show up and join, you got to go through a maze.
I know, right? I actually really like that, by the way. So that whole scene, the knot, it reminded me of a couple of different things. It feels like the magic school, like, really important test arc you see in so many. Like, I think of like the maze from like the Goblet of Fire for one. I also think of a trial that was in Free Ren, where they're going through a forest. Like, it reminded me of both of those things quite a bit. But it did feel distinct enough to be its own thing. There was a lot more like mythical creatures and like magic happening to keep it interesting.
Are you saying this is a Weasley that got lost in another universe?
Yes.
I picked up that same kind of concept though. It's like it's like they're getting ready for the Goblet of Fire, except they're going into David Bowie's Labyrinth. And was anybody else overwhelmed with him when we first saw the size of that labyrinth?
Yeah, I do want to ask a question, Frederick. Do you feel like the book properly conveyed why he threw water on the one chick?
I don't recall. Probably.
I think he was being clumsy.
Yeah, I thought that was just he stumbled and
Like, he was nervous.
I think he was trying to see through her shirt, but
Wet t-shirt contest.
I wouldn't blame him.
I do think there is some problems in the coloring, but I do think the coloring overall in this book is good.
Especially when you look like at the architecture, especially when he's coming in the maze, like you see the greenery taking over the maze architecture. That's done so well, man. It's incredible. The women look way too beautiful in this book. It's unfair. It kind of makes it irresistible to keep going with the story.
I demand.
Listen, you know what, Frederick? You can flip the page with one hand. Just letting you know.
Oh, I know.
There needs to be a cheesecake moment.
Listen, Nelson's gonna watch this and he'll be like, "You fucking degenerates."
I thought the Darkling was the cheesecake here.
She's
The
my
what?
favorite part of the book. Yeah, the Darkling. Yeah.
Dude, I can't. This is why I did want. I do want a double page spread in the next book, just because how well he's drawing the environments and castles and shit. And I just want just a big double page spread of just that.
Yeah,
would be
I
awesome.
agree.
Yeah, especially like when he's faced with massive like scenery, like the maze that could have been a very impactful as a double page spread.
Well, when he gets to his home, his castle at home and stuff, and you got the town at the bottom and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Fuck, man.
I mean, I think he might have been playing it safe with the printing. Like that was when I'm doing my first comic here, and I was feeling like it was a risk to do the double page spreads.
You know what?
First time.
You know what? Here's the thing. I need to find the clip of the baby monster from the dinosaur show. I want more. I want more.
Oh God.
Just play that.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, this makes me want to get book 2. I think I'm going to be collecting the whole series, to be honest. Like, unless it turns into a Game of Thrones season 8, I think I'm on board with the story.
I would like to see, maybe when he gets like the 3rd book done, do like a big hardcover collection.
Oh, that would be a big fat one. Like, because you could do a hardcover just with volume 1, with book 1.
I know. However, let's make it a chunky boy, right? I'd buy it in a heartbeat.
Needs
You're
to
not
be a
gonna-
chunky boy.
Yeah, especially it's with all the effort he's made into have it feel like a storybook that would be well warranted. And you know what? Unlike Shadiversity's leather-bound first attempt at a book, this one would frickin' deserve a leather binding at some point.
I'm actually going to give this credit too. So not only is the cover great, but I also love the back cover, and it's actually done right. Unlike, since you brought up Shadiversity's comic, it's actually formatted right on the back.
Yeah, so the back is actually a variant cover of the first 32-page sample that he gave out, which was a limited edition copy that I got as a reviewer. So, yeah, fun fact.
Fun fact. All right, and also in the hardcover version, you got to give us the uncensored version, Nelson. Has to be done. No more smoke,
I think he wants
Just
to
a
keep
little
it
nip slip,
family
just a
friendly,
little.
I think that's the thinking behind it. I'm the same way with my comic. Like, as much as I'm a fan of the fan service, sometimes you want to make a book that's just going to be all.
Listen, he could have
Just do like me, like have an illustration that's just straight up booty.
Tell
That's
you what,
right.
Arvid, when you translate it into French, and I'll help you with that, you can have an uncensored version for the European market. That'll go over well.
No, it's got to be for the American market. The freedom market, you know.
America.
Never mind, I'm not going to make that joke. Anyways, yeah, is there anything else y'all want before we go to conclusion?
With this book, it's beautiful. It's a great story, and it's going to be something you're going to treasure and want to reread.
Also, I'm going to make everyone jealous that watches this. We got it when it was on sale for like, I think it was $7, right?
Yeah, it was incredibly affordable. Like, I think it's priced below cost to an extreme. This is a marketing strategy to get the book out in people's hands so that we're hooked into buying the regular priced editions that are going to follow. And tell you what, Arvid, I think it worked.
Also, we got there was a map add-on that was pretty good.
Yep, I got the map right here, but it's not a video. But
Now, it's not a world map; it's a region map.
yeah, and it's got gold freaking lettering for the band of
Yeah, the
Crow.
gold foil lettering.
Yeah,
Ooh.
dude, it's so gorgeous. You're probably going to show that on video, I bet.
Yeah, I think I'll have to take a picture of that, but I can pop it up.
Gold bordering. Tell me more.
Mhm.
Talk dirty to me.
Anyways, we're gonna move into the conclusion. Alrighty, now on to our conclusion. Frequency. Why don't you start us off?
Well, this is an absolutely stunning book, and I highly suggest everybody check it out. I'm looking through it, and there are some things I hope to see coming up soon. I mean, a lot of this stems around finding, I think it's pronounced Fail, F-A-L-E, and I want to know more about that. What's that?
Otter, how do we say that properly?
Say that one more time.
F-A-I-L, right?
Yeah.
No, it's
fail.
F-A-L-E.
Oh, flail. Flail was F.
Oh, flail. Yeah.
Yeah, it's the thing that powers their magic. It makes them into a.
No, that's not flail. That's fail.
Is it
Yeah,
fail?
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
fail.
F-A-L-E. Yeah.
Yeah, F-A-L-E fail.
Anyways.
I am curious to see more on how that ties in, how, into the whole, I like to break down magic systems and how they work and stuff, and I can't wait to see where this goes. And maybe after another book or two, I might start having some theories, because I love speculating. I'm usually way wrong, but I love speculating about that kind of stuff. And I can't wait to see more of what comes out. This is a whole new continuity, a whole new everything that we've never seen before. So who knows? There's a lot of creativity in this, and I'm curious to see what directions this stuff goes in.
He's gonna bang the Darkling chick, right?
I would think that's the wrong direction. He's engaged.
But what if it's secretly the right direction?
What if this was secretly a harem anime? Frequency. Didn't you think about that? Oh.
Well, the first chick we saw in this entire book kind of had dark tentacles, so.
It's called Fail School DxD.
And there goes my channel. But no, this book does have really good art. I think the writing is pretty good. There are some pitfalls, but I think he's going in a good direction. And I'd love to see where he's going to go with this. And also, he's going to keep me intrigued because, he's going to keep bringing that asshole husband character. And I just want to watch him, fail really bad. He's taking credit for saving stuff when his pregnant wife was actually the one casting the magic on the trolls. He took the credit. What a bastard.
Mm-hmm.
And would it have been so difficult for him to say those trolls were lucky? She found them before I did. But no.
Well, you see, he's the protector of the village. And he has to always be the one protecting.
Yeah, he's a character you kind of like to dislike. He's well written, but he is kind of reprehensible.
You
Oh my
love
God,
to hate.
you know how you can make a more annoying scene for him? When he's like eating food, he's having like, a little butler come over and like pamper his mouth and shit.
Oh God.
Make him more obnoxious.
One thing I am looking forward to in the upcoming books is more fight scenes and action. Like we see a good one in the beginning of chapter 1. Chapter 2, a little bit less so. I'm looking forward to seeing maybe more creatures, more female characters, and magic. I'm looking forward to see all the visual effects we're going to have with all of the fantasy.
Yeah, Nilsson, you need to show us Fireball. You know, I didn't ask how big the room was. I just said cast Fireball. That's what I want to see. Also, I want to see him do different elements. We saw a little bit of fire in this one, but I want to see him how he draws a fireball. See how well he does it, you know?
I want to see what Ethereal can do.
He can get seduced by a Darkling. That's his accomplishment right now.
And he
Got
can
a long
fail
way to
the
go.
test.
And he did it well.
And he made all the boys happy by throwing water on Anacasta.
Yeah, and when you see, here's a tip, like when you see water spilt on a woman wearing white robes, we need to see the consequences of that action.
Choices
Yeah,
have
Nelson, it's
consequences, Arvid.
You know, it's pretty unrealistic that we didn't see through the cloth, you know?
This really harms my suspension of disbelief.
Absolute. You know what? I gave this an A-. I think I'm going to give it an F, you know?
Oh yeah, that's a solid reason.
F for fail, F-A-L-E.
FALE.
F for yeah.
Fail.
You got your fail. There you go, Nelson. You got your fail.
F is for friends who fail.
Now use it for
together.
magic.
No, but I actually am curious because I know when we did the interview with him that he was not just pulling from like a old British myth like Tolkien, but he was also pulling like Celtic, right, and stuff like that, and Irish.
Yeah, you could definitely get a Celtic like vibe from it. Like the Darkling is a prime example of that. In fact, that felt like it came straight out of a Celt myth.
Yeah, which it's gonna be interesting. I can't wait to see some of his more gruesome looking creatures and fantastical creatures in the future books.
Oh
He's got
yeah,
the
dude.
artist that can do it, you know?
Especially seeing how well the horses are drawn, the stag was well drawn. Seeing like a monstrous creature or a dragon-sized creature, something like that, could be impressive. And
I
I'm
think
gonna
he
repeat
just
what
needs
you
to have
said,
a more
Billy.
well-rounded plot.
Oh, that's what's gonna happen. He's gonna take a scene from Shrek with Lord Farquaad, right? Instead, it's gonna be that husband character, right? And that's how we're gonna get. That's how we're gonna get the double-page spread, Frederick.
Yeah, I'd love to see a big double-page spread with a massive.
Yeah, he's gonna be like falling off, you know, because he tripped, and he's like the dragon's just gonna open its maw.
Some of you may fail, but it's a decision my wife is willing to make.
But nah, he should be proud of this book. The book is really, really good.
It's definitely like one of my favorite, especially like if we're putting this in the category of indie books, which it is. It's definitely punches above its class. It's incredible how well brought to life this is. You got a sound story, you got incredible artwork, and then he went the extra mile by adding storybook, chapter dividers, fonts, and everything is kind of the extra mile with this book. So I highly recommend it to anyone.
You did point out, I would say that get more better sound effects when you're going to use it instead of just standard.
The onomatopoeia could get varied fonts, add maybe some colors because they're all white throughout the book. So I think that's something where he can improve a little slightly on it, you know?
Yeah, it doesn't make or break the book, but you know, just a little bit improvement. Like I said, I had very few bad things to really say about this book. Like, I don't think anything's objectively bad in this book.
Yeah, I felt shame critiquing this books. That's how good it is.
Yeah, let me put this, Nelson. Tell your artist that you made Frederick cry and contemplate his own ability to draw, just like Mira did, from Berserk.
Yeah,
and the Rook's Exodus drawer,
but in the best way possible, because this is, as an artist, we love to see other artists who excel in the art. Like this is an inspiration, especially for drawing women. I think he's one of a kind. Like,
shame on you,
really
Arvid, and congratulations.
Oh, also, I'm gonna recommend get Bud Root to do a cover for you on the second book.
Who?
Bud Root. He did it for Core Draft. The Core Draft covers I got.
Yeah.
I'll even pop them up on the screen when we're talking about the covers. Talking about.
Yeah, and get the map. Like, if you're contemplating if you should get the map or not, this is a map made by Francesca Berold. You can see her work at francescaberold.com. She does excellent map work, and this one is like top of the line fantasy maps. And I think it's going to be fun to follow the story along with the map as well, because I think it's always a staple of a good fantasy book, right? The map at the beginning of the book. This one is not inside the book, but if you do get it, I think it's a nice add-on to
us dirty fantasy readers. We love the maps, It's like crack,
right?
But it doesn't rot your teeth. Otter, is there anything you would like to see in future books and stuff?
So, what I'd like to see a little bit more of the world, honestly. And I have a feeling that will be part of the second volume. I want to see a little bit more of the world building. I want there to be kind of like probably, I think, a hook that kind of like gets into the larger world as well. I think Theriel's wife-to-be is a pretty good hook, but I want something to kind of like connect to the larger world and give us a bit more indication of what's going on. I think the trolls are a good start, but biggest thing I really want is just a little more. Also a little more plot.
Like I said, Otter, all he'd do is add a couple extra pages when he's like going to sleep or some shit, and he's getting like a dream of the Darklings or something. Because I do think that's supposed to be a hook into something greater with him.
It's like, in this dream, my hair doesn't curl in naturally concealing ways.
Yes, you can see the full thing. Ooh. Frederick, is there anything you would like to see in the future?
Yeah, I mean, a hardcover version, because it's just like the last kind of the last next step to having like a beautiful part of my collection with the Bondis Snays.
Do it when you got 3 books, Nelson. Do 3. Do a 3 big collection. Listen, I pay $60 for that.
Yeah, I mean, that's probably going to get me to buy book 2 and 3 and then buy them all over again as a full hardcover.
Well, here's the thing: the hardcover version would be my actual read copy at that point as well.
Well, that's the thing, is the hardcover keeps the interior pages like pristine.
Yes.
Yeah.
You heard it, Nelson. That's what we're demanding. Listen, we're gonna put a graphic of a gun on something precious to you. You don't do it. Frequency, is there anything you would like to see in the future?
Yeah, just a little more of the lore, bit by bit. I know you can't dump it all on us at once. We don't want to have an exhibition dump.
Well, that's why I was
into that lore.
That's why when we were getting to those chapter heading like breaks and stuff pages that he had, and especially the ones with the goddess on there, I actually wish that's where he would dump lore, like a paragraph there.
Yeah,
it could be, you can do it in like a passage of her like story told through like gospel, right?
Yeah. But that's what I'm looking forward to is more lore, more world building, and as I said before, I want to see what Therial can do. When I want to see him start to step up and start to drive the story more himself. Now, this is just an introduction, so you can't expect like everything to kick off just like that. We gotta get our bearings here, and you can only convey so much at a time without overloading. So, but I am looking forward to getting that info.
Otter, imagine if he ends up getting magic and he basically turns into a male version of Megamine.
Oh my god. He's like, man, I can do amazing things. All right, I'm spent for the day.
I think that's about all we got. However, I am going to do one last thing. Otter, Frederick, and Frequency. Do you recommend this book?
Absolutely.
Yes.
Oh yeah, wholeheartedly.
I think it's safe to say this is a pretty good book. You should feel happy, Nelson. You did really good. Your artist did really good. I think this is going to be it, guys.
I mean, unless you're an artist and you want to feel good about your own work, then don't get this.
Yeah, we ran like Canada ran out of tissues. You made them really cry, Oren. Yeah. But anyways, I think this is in the video. Thank you for everyone for watching. See you next time.
See ya.
See ya.
God bless.